Welcome to this do-it-yourself project, showing how I decorate or dress a purchased 1/12 scale miniature brass twin bed using a repurposed cross-stitch kit, fabric, craft ribbons, all for display. Materials and supplies are shown throughout the video and listed below in the description box. I purchased this little twin bed, I think about 20 years ago, but I have seen recently some of these beds on Etsy and eBay. The bed measures about 6.5 inches in length by 3¼ inches in width. The front headboard is 4 1/8 of an inch tall. The end footboard is 3 1/8 of an inch. The pillow is 2 11/16 by 1 7/8 of an inch. The mattress is 3¼ inches wide, a 1/2 inch thick, and 6 3/8 inch long. There are 3 metal coiled springs that run the length of the bed, and then I scraped a little bit of metal from the underneath the bed just to see if it was really brass. I don't know what the bed is really made of, to try to figure out what it is. And then I do test it with a little magnet, because brass is not usually magnetic, and so when I put the little magnet on the coils, they're metal, and then I go ahead and I give it a little try to the, whoops, got caught back on the coil. I put it on the side rails and it will not stick. My little magnet just falls right down. So it could be a brass bed, but it is a cute little miniature bed, and I'm going to go ahead and decorate it. One thing on the ends of the bed, or the top ends, there are those little nibs from the rails. I'm not sure I like them. I tried putting little beads on the top, but the glue did not stick. So I take a wire cutter and I cut them as flush as I can and sand it down. After looking at the bed and under it, I thought it had to have a dust bunny. And so I made a clean dust bunny video. I suppose saying there are dust bunnies under the bed instead of fluffy dirt clumps is a little bit more polite. To begin to dress the bed, first I make a pattern. That is to make a mattress pad. I pin the paper pattern to the felt, and then I cut it out. Then I remove the pins and the fabric. I cut a 10 by 3/8 by 7 1/4 felt piece, allowing for 2 inches all around the mattress pad. I cut out the corners as shown. Next, I'm going to go ahead and pin the corner pieces together. I've never made a mattress pad before, so I'm kind of winging it. I also am going to try to put elastic on it. With needle and thread, I sew straight stitches on all the corners, and then follow up with the blanket stitch for each of the 4 corners. Then I sew a straight stitch around the 2 shorter ends, beginning and ending about 1½ inches from the long sides into the short sides, as shown. While I'm sewing this, I'm starting to wonder, is maybe the felt a little bit too thick? Maybe I should have gone with a thinner felt, or maybe a different material, but I'm going to try it. So I go ahead and continue the straight stitch. And I'm still coming around to the end here and going around and around, and I'm still thinking that I'm just so happy that I'm going to be able to finish this project that I started a few years ago. And I've got some more ideas and about using another project I never finished, which is the cross stitch that I'll be able to add. So as I come to the end, or I'm almost to the end here, I've only got an inch more or so to go, 1.5 inches, and I'm just about ready. And now I'm going to go ahead and pull, gently pull it, to kind of get that ruffly look, or that look like I did on the other end. So you're going to do this for both ends, and gently pull. And I keep the pins in because that shows the 1.5 inches that I did. And after you finish pulling and gathering up and trying to keep it straight, I cut about a 2½ inch of elastic, and I'm going to go ahead and sew that on there around in a semicircle from pin to pin. Once I have the 2 elastic pieces sewed to the 2 ends, then I'm going to measure out that elastic evenly. I'll place some pins on it, After I had sewed the end pieces of elastic, I kind of stretch out the material to match up with the fabric before I place those pins. And then once I get it all pinned in, then I sew it into place, remove the pins, and this is what I get. That's my little attempt at having something elastic. And now I'm going to reverse it or flip it out to the right side. And I'm trying to think, yeah, you know what? I can say I gave it a try and I think it'll work. Would I do it again for something that you're not going to see in the long run? Because of course the bottom sheet will cover it and the comforter. But you know what? It was kind of fun trying. Now to see if the mattress will actually fit inside of it. And the good thing is the mattress that came with a little bed, it feels like a very foam inside, so I'm able to fold that in half while I try to slide it in, and that works just great. Just slide it in into the corners, and then I'm going to do the other side. And as I take a look at it, it seems a little bit misshapen or puffy all the way around. I can see why elastic is usually put all the way around, like on bottom sheets. So I'm wondering, well, let me see if it fits. So, yep, it's just squishy enough that it's going to fit in there. And so, I think I'm going to have to tack the two pieces of felt to each other just to kind of keep it level. Okay, I like it. All right, and while I'm at it, I thought, you know what, I'm going to try to do some little quilting shapes on it. So I draw some little diamond shapes on a piece of paper. You maybe could have drawn some diamond shapes directly onto the felt, but I did the paper. Then I remove the mattress and pin the diamond pattern on top of the mattress pad. Then with the needle and thread, I sew along the lines in a running or straight stitch. I use my thumb to kind of make sure I hold on to the fabric so it stays where it needs to stay. The first lines that I sewed were to make like an X shape so that it kind of secured the pattern onto the felt, and that way I could remove the pin. Then I finished up with the running stitches through the rest of the lines to make the diamond shape. After I finish sewing up all the diamonds, I now start to remove the paper pattern. I just take little bits of pieces at a time. I just remove it carefully so I don't pull the thread. This kind of took me a little bit of time here to remove the pieces, but I just take my time, and I'm using a little blunt tweezers. When I get done, there are all the papers, and you can kind of see the diamond pattern on my mattress pad. I am using a mauve dusty rose pink with cream combination for the bedding colors. The thin strip of rose fabric on the right is a recycled ribbon that I'm going to use for the skirting. To make the bottom fitted sheet, it's very similar to the mattress pad. I'm going to cut a 10 3/8 by 7 1/4 rectangle, cut out the corners, glue and finger press 1/8 of an inch hem edges, fold up the corner pieces, then pin them together. Then I sew the 4 corners, turn it right side out, then I place the mattress inside of the fitted sheet. Next, I fold in the long sides and then the ends over top and stitch the 4 corners together. The view under the bed and the view from the top for the fitted bottom sheet. To make the top flat sheet, I cut a 6.5 by 6 inch fabric piece. Then I place the fabric right side on the down against the table. I glue around 1/8 inch of a hem all the way, finger pressing and angling cut the corners. Then I fold it over again, the little 1/8 inch hem, glue that and angle cut it as well. And finally, I glue the accent floral fabric strip across the top of the short end. And then I place the sheet where I'd like it, move it up to where I want to put it, and then I'm going to flip it over and tuck it underneath, and then I'm going to sew the bottom part of the sheet to the fitted mattress to complete the flat top sheet. And of course, there's a little dust bunny under the bed. The rectangular pillow is cut from a 3 1/8 by 3.5 inch fabric. See my camping bag video for the assembly details. The finished pillow is 2.5 by 1.5 inches. And then I add a strip of cream ribbon around the open edge. For the blanket, I am repurposing a cross-stitch kit that I never finished. It was a bell pull design by Linda Bird. I got the 3 cake tiers started on the project, and many years later decided the cross-stitch would make a nice blanket cover on this twin bed. So I extended out the rose pattern to 7.25 by 3.5 inches. I embroidered vines and tiny flowers. Then I sewed lace ribbon around the top edge. And then I added a crochet ribbon. And then I sewed a fabric on the back of the embroidery. Once I had all the pieces sewn together, I placed it on the bed. I decided to paint the outside of the bed. I spray painted it a silver, and then I applied an acrylic gold paint over the top. I decided to make a separate box for the skirting, a 6.25 by 3 by 1 inch. Then I pleated that floral ribbon fabric all the way around the edges, and that way it tucks right underneath the bed. And here's the project put together. I have a few accessory pillows I'm deciding on, but here it goes when I fold down the blanket. There's the pillow, and I'll fold it down one more time, and you can see I've put on a bolster pillow on the back of the rectangular pillow, and there's your sheet with your fitted sheet, and everything folds down. I've made the tubular bolster pillows in a previous video. There's my rectangular pillow. I'm going to fold everything back up, put the pillow back on, tuck it underneath the cover, and then I decide that I'm going to put on a collection of yo-yo shaped circles in the dusty rose and the green. I've made a video on the yo-yo blanket that gives you an idea of how I did that. I hope you like and share this project decorating and dressing a miniature brass twin bed. Thank you so much for watching.